So I'm going to do a quick video here. This afternoon, it looks like, a helicopter crashed into the Hudson River in New York, injuring two. Not seriously, it looks like. I'll show you the video here in a real second. But I can give you a sort of a background of what I know about helicopters and why I can hypothesize why this helicopter crashed. I was in the military for 20 years, and the whole time I was a helicopter mechanic, most likely. Most likely. It was the Blackhawk helicopter. There's nothing I do not know about that helicopter. I worked on from the models from 1979, 77, all the way up until not necessarily current day. I would say probably most current one was like 2004, maybe. Anyways, but I worked on Alpha models, Lima models, Kilo models, and Mike models. Let's put it that way. So I know one thing or two about helicopters and how they work and how they crash, or what makes them crash. Let's put it that way. But this story from Reuters is pretty simple. New York helicopter crash on the river, causing minor injuries to a pilot and a dock worker. This dock worker probably was hit by flying debris of the helicopter, most likely. This is dramatic footage. And the real report, Bill de Blasio, you mean Wilhelm? Yeah. Bill Wilhelm. William Wilhelm. That's his real name, actually. Yeah. And unlike the movies, when anytime something crashes, something explodes, helicopters just don't explode when they crash. They can. Most likely they don't. There's a lot of safety equipment involved and engineering that prevents them from exploding. Now they don't get me wrong, they can explode. But looks like it does. So I'm gonna play this video here real quick, and I'm gonna stop it and kind of point out to you what happens. Alright. At first you see it flying. It's normal. And stop right here. As you can see right now, this helicopter here, for some reason it makes a right-hand turn. Now, here's an interesting note about helicopters in the United States. Most American or United States of America helicopters, their rotor blades, which is these big wind-making things right here, they spin counterclockwise. Okay. Unlike, say, helicopters from Russia, most of them spin clockwise. But you ask yourself, does it matter? No. Let's continue. Okay, so it makes a right-hand turn right here for some reason. You got to understand about these airspaces in the city. They're extremely regulated, especially after 9/11. So a lot of these tourism helicopters can fly down the river. I think it's, if I remember correctly, safely below 500 feet. Or maybe a little above, unless they get ATC control, because there's a lot of air traffic from the three big airports around there. Maybe four big. Let's continue. Okay, you see it come here. It does makes a 180 essentially. And here it comes. Starts to slow down. Looks like it's about to land. Alright. Right here. This is where the problem happens. Flying helicopters, which I was a cruise chief a few times, you learn from experience and a lot of the safety training videos you watch is that most of the problems for any fixed wing or rotary wing aircraft, they start, a lot of the instances begin during landing and takeoff. That's where most of the problems happen. Very rarely do aircraft fail in flight. Now they do, don't get me wrong, but most of the time it's landing and takeoff. Now this aircraft, understand, if you look at it, it's starting to make clockwise turns because the rotor blade is spinning counterclockwise. Okay, that's why it spins that way. All right, now this is uncontrolled. Now, if you watch, let me see if I can slow the video down a little bit. Okay. Now, this is because the video speed and where the camera's taking this. I do notice that this rotor blade here, or the tail rotor, right here, back here, is spinning a lot slower. Now, that just could be the video, because a lot of the frames per second sort of affect. There's a lot of videos you see on, you can see them on YouTube, where they'll get the shutter speed down at such a point to where it looks like the rotor blades or propellers of an airplane, a fixed-wing aircraft, aren't spinning fast, or they're just like still. But this is how I can tell, because he lost tail rotor control and he's starting to spin clockwise, and that's not a death sentence for a helicopter. Now, he's over water, which is good, which you'll see pretty much at the end what happens. But you start him spinning. Now, he's probably at this point going, I have no tail rotor control. Oh crap! Now, at this point, he can't just grab his checklist, his emergency checklist, and thumb through it. Okay, let me see what I need to do during lost tail rotor control. Now, especially with the Blackhawk, if you've got a forward airspeed of, say, I think over 80 knots, let's say over 80 knots, there's a cambered fairing on the back of the tail, which helps the helicopter not spin out of control like this. And it's got a little bit of a fin, not a fin, but it's got like a kind of like a concave sort of like, best thing to say is a fin, but it kind of. So, anyways, what I'm saying is that the pilot still in a Blackhawk can still control it, albeit at 80 knots. And since the helicopter Blackhawk has landing gear of two main landing gear tires and a tail wheel tire, they can land on a road or an airfield. They don't have to land like this helicopter, because it's got skids. It's got to land. It can't in an emergency, but it can land on pavement, hard dirt, or even water if you land in this instance, and be fine. But since it has no wheels, it can't roll. It's got to come straight down as much as possible. So, like I said, if you look at this guy right now, he's probably saying, oh crap. But he's probably well trained, like all helicopter pilots are, you would hope, to know what to do. You can still control this by reducing the collective, which is there's three inputs you can put on the helicopter, main inputs. Let's put it that way. You got the tail wheel control, which is the rudders, which are at your feet. Now, if you don't have the tail rotor, you can't control it, so that input's out. You have the cyclic control, the stick in the middle of their legs, which tilts the rotor blade left to right, forward and back. And you also have the collective, which controls the pitch of the rotor blades by pulling up, increases the pitch and produces more power, or you push the collective down, which decreases pitch and decreases power. Hope you're with me here. So let's continue. So it's starting to spin. Now, at this point, I would assume he dropped the collective. So, because basically, if you drop the collective, you stop some of the clockwise spin of the tail rotor. Not all of it, but some. What he's doing right now, what he's trying to do is called an auto rotation, because at the last minute you're going to see the helicopter sort of stabilize, but they're still going down. So let's, for instance, if this helicopter had a complete engine failure, he can still land a helicopter fairly easy by controlling the cyclic control and the pitch of the blades. By bringing, if you increase it too much, you stall the aircraft, but you have to have a little bit of forward airspeed and enough air going through the main rotor blades. You can still land it. and they do train for this, by the way. They'll go up to like a certain altitude, and they'll drop the collective as they won't shut the engine off because it's only one engine. So they'll sort of play with it, and they'll try to land it. Some maybe I don't know if they do it anymore, but I think what they do is I've been on these test flights where they'll go up and they'll drop the collective, and they'll bring the collective back up to reduce the vertical airspeed, and they'll put it back down. They still can control it, especially with the Blackhawk. As long as you have hydraulic control, you can control the aircraft. But if you don't, that becomes a whole different story. But this isn't a Blackhawk. Looks like a Bell Jet Ranger maybe, but I'm not sure. So we'll continue. Okay, you see him right there. What he just did right there, as you see, the helicopter leveled out. He applied collective, so he brought the pitch of the blades down, which was creating more lift. As you can see, the helicopter just straightened out. And it's still right. Okay, this helicopter is equipped with rafts as an emergency. So if it crashes, this helicopter with the blade spinning is going to go straight into the water, regardless, because the rotor blades. Basically, when you hit the water, the aircraft's going to break up in a bunch of different pieces, and the main rotor blade is going to drag the aircraft down. But what these rafts prevent it from going directly into the drink down to the bottom. So we'll continue. Once he applied more collective, aircraft started spinning again. So, because even if you lose the tail rotor drive shaft all the way back to the tail rotor, even if you lose that, you would hope, you still have control of the pitch of the tail rotor. And I don't know if this is the case, because I don't know, because you don't know, because he may have lost complete control. You just don't know. But he goes down. Levels out. Alright, this right here, this piece that flew off of it, most likely was a tail rotor. Okay, and it goes flying. Yeah, that's probably the tail rotor, or part of the tail, if you will. And once it hits the water, there's not much hardware holding that tail rotor on the tail rotor assembly, and they'll break. And I don't know if it's necessarily designed to break like that, but you got to understand it's spinning fast, and that's a piece of, I want to say, aluminum. Don't know much more about this aircraft particularly. The Blackhawk, the tail rotor, most of it is a carbon composite or fiberglass, and the spar, which is the center portion of it, is either titanium, especially with the older main rotor blades of the Blackhawk. Now some of them are made out of carbon composite, some sort of space age crap. But so it hits, and the safest place to be in a helicopter is inside the aircraft. You wait for all the moving parts to stop spinning around and breaking apart, then you can get out. Part of the crew chief training is they put you in a dunk tank, and they flip the big ass pool, and they put you in a simulated aircraft, and they dunk it in the water, flip it over, and you have to figure out how to get out. It's pretty easy when you're not, that there's people around you that if you mess up, they're going to save you. But if this is an actual emergency situation, that's different. So. So most likely, in my opinion, the helicopter had lost tail rotor control, and the pilot tried to save it as much as possible. And the only thing he could have done was activate the RAF system, use cyclic control, and with collective control to land the aircraft in the water. That was his best option, and he did it. And honestly, it didn't look like he did anything wrong. He was just flying, and the thing just started, because it looked like he was trying to land at the tourism look. I think the story was he was trying to pick up passengers to do a sightseeing tour, and the helicopter went. So we don't know what happened. So I can't surmise or hypothesize if what kind of maintenance was done on it. I had no idea. So yeah, so good for him, and I'm glad him and the other guy are good to go, and they're not going to be seeing any long medical problems resulting from this. So that's it.